He's in Chennai. Mr. Chidambaram, your first reaction, sir. We just heard you speak to the local media there. You're calling it a case of vendetta politics. How so?
Absolutely. This is no case. These are supposed events which took place in 2008. They filed an FIR in 2017 and they have raided me 4 times. They've summoned me over 20 times. Each time I've spent over 10 hours with the agencies, a minimum of 10 hours with the agencies. I've been a guest of the CBI for 11 days. And they've summoned all in sundry. Anybody even remotely connected to me has been summoned and has been raided. And they still don't have a charge sheet, which means they have no case. There is no case. I have never met anybody in INX. The order of the High Court of 23rd March 2018 by R.S. Garg clearly says that no FIBB official has ever claimed that he's ever met me or even knows me. So what is this case all about? If it's not made up, and if it's made up, it's only been made up for political reasons. Because my father is the most vehement critic of this government.
But the judge in the observation, sir, says, and I'm quoting Mr. Chidambaram, he says, it would be preposterous to say that the prosecution of the petitioner is baseless, politically motivated and an act of vendetta, because on the basis of material collected so far, it can be safely said that prima facie a case is being made out against the petitioner, which I understand is your father.
So please read the last paragraph of the same judgment.
Yes.
What does it say?
It says, grant of pre-arrest bail in a serious matter like this one to an accused simply on the ground and investigation is not complete. I have point number 29. This is what I have at the moment. But you can enlighten me. What is it that you want to say?
These are all obiter dictum. These are not findings of, this is not a trial court. This is only an anticipatory bail. Why don't you contrast this with the same anticipatory bail I got from the same Delhi High Court on 23rd March 2018. Why don't you contrast this judgment with that judgment and see how different those findings are?
So
why don't you read para? Why don't you read para? No, please, you don't have it. You don't have it on you.
I don't have it. I will get it and read it. But I want your reaction, sir. I want your reaction on what the judge has said. Do you disagree with this observation? Is that what you're saying? I know this is not binding. This is obiter dicta, and you know the law better than I do. But I'm just trying to understand.
Completely disagree. I completely disagree. I completely disagree. I would urge you to read the judgment of Justice R.S. Garg on 23rd March 2018, particularly para 50. If the agencies have so much evidence and so much data, why don't they file a charge sheet? What is taking them so long? 2017 FIR, 2008 event, 4 raids, 20 summons, 11 days of custody with me, and they still don't have enough material to file a charge sheet. Are they still investigating? What are they investigating? They're only investigating to have a spectacle on television. That's all.
So why are you saying that this observation is also motivated? Is that what you're trying to suggest, sir?
I'm not imputing any motives to the Honorable Justice. All I'm saying is I disagree with the findings. That's all. With the comments. That's all. It's not even findings. I just disagree with the comments.
What is going to be your next course of action? Because the anticipatory bail is infructuous now.
I went through the same process last year. We'll go through the same process this year. I went through the same process, didn't I? They put me through the same drill. We'll go through the same drill again this year.
The procedure began yesterday, sir, and many said that Mr. P. Chidambaram was nowhere to be seen. He'd gone missing. That's what today's headlines said in the newspapers. Why did not anyone come out to clear the air that he was just seeking legal opinion?
No, he's not obligated to answer every speculation in somebody's mind. See, we're not obligated to do that. We are free citizens and we are free to do how we wish to behave. So there was no legal obligation for him to do anything yesterday.
So then why the press conference?
Today, that is a decision we took because of all the frenzy which was going on. We had a press conference today. That's all. We can choose the timing in which I can have the press conference. I can choose the timing in which I want to speak to you too, can't I?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm glad you're speaking to me. I also want to ask you, do you endorse the way this entire procedure was carried out, the way that these security officials had to scale the wall of your father's residence and how these Congress workers protested?
How can I endorse anything? It's despicable. I'm telling you, nobody in India has been raided 4 times. I've been raided 4 times. This is the very same agency. They are part of the agencies who have done it. So I know their conduct. So I mean, they're hardly professional. They're just handmaidens of the government. That's all.
Were they when the Congress was also in power?
I'm not getting. They have acted as handmaidens in my case, and I have been treated very unfairly by the agencies. And nobody's got the courage of conviction to say that there is no case and they will want to stop the investigation. They will just continue having the investigation only to harass me.
Are you at least going to agree that the way in which the Congress workers protested outside the Jorbagh residence was unbecoming, and security officials were not... Sorry?
I'm not in Delhi. I don't know anything about that.
Right, I can tell you, I've seen visuals of security officials trying to scale the wall of the house, sir, because they were being barred by Congress workers.
I haven't seen this. So I can't comment about it.
But if this were to be true, would you condemn it?
There was no reason for anybody to scale the wall. There's no reason for anybody to scale the wall. So I don't know why these people had to scale the wall.
And is
not a very large residence.
It isn't. Is it right to block the path of security officials and policemen when they're trying to discharge their duty?
But there's no reason to have the spectacle of multiple teams also rushing to the house. There was no reason to have that spectacle too. Why did you have to do that? Was my father an armed person they had to go and subdue? So why did they have to send so many people? Why did they have to do that?
Why do you think that Mr. Chidambaram specifically is being targeted, as you put it?
Because he is the most vehement and articulate critic of this government and the consistent critic of this government. He writes a column every week. He speaks out against the follies of this government. He criticizes their foolish policies right from demonetization to Article 370 and the flawed implementation of GST. And because he's such a consistent and articulate critic, they want to target him and they want to silence him.
And as somebody who understands the law, you believe that there is no case whatsoever against him and he's going to come out unscathed?
If there is a case, there should be a charge sheet, so I'll have a chance to go defend myself in a court of law. But without a charge sheet, what do I defend myself against? Only media planted stories. That's all I have to react to. There is no charge. If you read my election affidavit, it will clearly say that I'm facing no proceedings in any court, which is absolutely true even today.
As I understand it, this is on the basis of Indrani Mukherjee's testimony, sir.
Then if they have all the data and they have enough data to go and file a charge sheet, they should file a charge sheet ASAP so that I have an opportunity to go and defend myself. They can't just have this never-ending, open-ended investigation and media leak. That's what is happening. This is trial by media, insinuation, rumor and innuendo. That is what is happening now.
And do you believe that the Congress party is going to stand by your father?
Completely, they have stood by us. I'm ever grateful to the Congress party. I'm grateful to Rahul Gandhi, to Priyanka Gandhi and everybody else, and particularly to Mr. Kapil Sibal, Salman Khurshid and to Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi for standing with us throughout.
And you have a foolproof legal strategy to take on these agencies?
Absolutely. The truth is the strategy we have. The truth will vindicate us.
Right. All the best to you, Mr. Karti Chidambaram. Thank you very much for speaking with us.